Chetmegetich was looking the opposite when we saw her in that long distance shot. So catching Bekele, but also catching Chetmegetich, possibly, if Chetmegetich is really struggling. I don't think Sarah's going to catch Koskai. Koskai looks very comfortable. She's got a big enough lead. But this is where the order changes rapidly in the marathon. Those who've gone up too quick and really start to suffer, get eaten up by those who've done a much better pace. We knew Sarah Hall was in good shape, so how many places up that US all-time list? Interesting that Sarah Hall is not on the Tokyo Olympic USA team. She dropped out of the trial, you know. Looks like an amazing performance today, but she won't be put on that team. So that's one of the consequences of a brutal first 3 past the post trial races. Occasionally, you end up with some of your really, really top runners staying at home.
Yes, I mean that debate can go on and on. I mean, I personally quite like first 2 are guaranteed. But there's one spot that allows a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah, that's been done before in selecting the British team. So you get an element of the sudden death trial, but also there's a little bit of leeway as well to allow for scenarios like this. Really, I mean, Sarah Hall would be a candidate for that 3rd spot if the USA did that sort of selection. Koskai's somewhere off the blue line coming around that corner. She needs lessons from Paula Radcliffe. Paula Radcliffe used to stick religiously to the blue line, and why wouldn't you? You don't want to run further than you have to. If you're in a big group, you might have to avoid falling over, but Koskai now on her own, so let's hope she remembers and gets back on that blue line.
Well, I think she'll just be happy to get this job done now. I mean, by her own incredibly high standards, perhaps she'll be, if it does turn out to be a mid-218s, perhaps she'll be a little tiny bit disappointed with that. However, it would still be a huge marathon win and an excellent title defence, as the cameras once again focusing on Naomi Mitchell. Just we'll get her 35k splits as soon as
a little bit. I mean, Koskai must be wondering now, you know, I've got such a big gap, all I need to do now is keep it together till the finish, and you don't need to do anything flashy in this situation, barring some calamity on the part of Koskai or something phenomenal from one of the others. I think she's got this one.
Gerda Stein, that national record for South Africa, you mentioned, Mara, 2:26.35,
yeah.
Very close.
Oh.
Very, very close. She might just do it. I mean, it's going to be tight. Like at the moment, unless she accelerates, it'll be down to a few seconds here or there. I mean, Alana Meyer ran a 2:25 in Boston, but that doesn't count, does it? Because there's too much downhill. So
that's right.
The official South African record is that 2:26.35. So there's a little bit of drama and a subplot for the South African, who's currently moving through the field nicely in ninth, and the Australian legend, Sinead Diver, running really well. She's on course, but not quite as fast a time as the 2:24 that she set here last year. But the 43-year-old having another fine run at the moment, moving through the field nicely and on course for something very similar to Gerda Stein. Maybe they can work together, just a couple of seconds separating them. So there's a lot going on slightly further back down the field, but I would agree with you, Mara, that barring some kind of unforeseen problem, this is Koskai's race now. It's just a question of can she pick up the pace and get any closer to Kaitani's women's own.
We need to appreciate our bridge today. Let's cheer up. You want to fly for them now.
In a bit more of a rhythm there, but Bekele right behind her there.
And Sarah Hall just behind her, so we're looking at 3rd and 4th. What a run this is by the American, absolutely superb.
Ellie Pashley there, just behind Bekele in the New Balance kit. She's Australian runner, qualified already in the 10,000 and the marathon, managed by Nick Bigot, who's had a long history of the stable of very strong runners. So Sarah Hall now, I think she's on the point of catching Bekele.
Yeah, this is looking really good from the Americans' perspective. Ashley is a solid performer, 24th in the world half 2 years ago, and had a fine run in the 10,000 metres in the sweltering heat of Doha, where it didn't have the air conditioning instead, but it was still absolutely boiling. Mitchell still winning the Battle of the Brits. We've lost Lily Partridge, British marathon champion 2 years ago, and Steph 12, who had moved to top 6 on the British all-time list with that 2:26 in Frankfurt last October, but she ran into some problems around about half an hour or so ago.
So we're into the final laps of this loop now, and I think as the athletes approach the finish gantry, they will be shown boards saying how many laps to go. So the barriers on each side of the course there, that was to discourage spectators from attending in order to make this an entirely COVID-safe event. The London Marathon, of course, was a biosecure area. They've been very diligent about testing in the build-up to this race. All the athletes have been wearing devices around their necks called bump technology, which ensures that they stay 2 metres apart from everyone else. So that's why we're seeing no spectators on this course. But of course 45,000 recreational runners out there are running as we speak. Sarah Hall is having an absolute blinder. I think she's certainly working hard, but looking good.
Yeah, this is a great run from Hall. She's on course for a PB, and she's definitely set to climb up that US all-time list, move to 6th with her 5th place.
Kwamba wako katika dakika za mwisho. Kwa hivyo mashabiki wakae standby kabisa. Tuko tayari. Haya, hold on DJ, hold on. Kitu 10 minutes hivi. Mambo itakuwa on fire. So wewe ka standby, tukiwa tayari kabisa kusherehekea pamoja. Safi DJ.
13 minutes left of running. And the final latest milestone for Kostai up at the front, 5:20. So she's picked it up a little bit. So can Sarah Hall get onto the podium? Kipchoge there again, looking a bit more comfortable than 5 minutes ago, but very much on her own now.
Bridget Kostai trains at number. Nilisema mara kwetu pale mlima basi Cherangani Kapsait do Kapenguria.
Just under 50 minutes time, by the way. It's an absolute marathon. Watching at home and in the commentary box, let alone competing. But we sometimes have this debate with Ellie Kipchoge, don't we? Where is it a grimace, is it a smile? I think at times it's both.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kapsait Camp was officially by Mheshimiwa Najib Balala. Niliingia tu nakumbuka akija na akawa the official, I mean the chief guest in the
Official opening.
Yes, the official opening.
And he's right here. Hata jana mkoko.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right.
So on course for a big PB, second at the US Olympic trials. This is only her second marathon. She ran, what was it, 2:27 and a half for that place on the US team. And I make it at the moment, she's on her own in 7th. She's a long way behind the athlete in 6th, but a long way ahead of the athlete in 8th. She's on course for sub 2:25, so a brilliant day for the American women here. It really is.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a talking point that if Sarah Hall beats Seidel, and Sarah's not going to the Olympics inside this, but Seidel ran an absolute blinder at the trials, and if she does a big PB here, she's absolutely proved herself. It's only her second marathon, so you really can't ask for more than that. But these two Brits, Mitchell and Cochrane, having an absolutely terrific race today. This is, to remind everyone, the National Marathon Championship for the British athletes here in London. So Naomi Mitchell currently on course to become the British champion for 2020. I just wonder if Cochrane is catching her. But both of these athletes having a fantastic race so far, with just over 10 minutes to go in this elite women's race. As you near to the end, Rob, I always used to. It was a touch and go whether I took my.
Bado tuko na dakika kumi. Tuko tayari? Haya DJ tumalizie 10 minutes.
Even if you don't swallow it. Okay, Sarah Hall now overtaking Bekele.
The American acrobatic Bekele from Ethiopia. That is another Bekele. There's no relation. And the one that has just overtaken is an American Maradona.
We knew she was in good shape. She's looking really strong.
Yeah, this is great from Sarah Hall. You were just saying they're quite interesting. There's evidence that even in the closing stages, just having a little bit of sugar swirling around in the mouth can help, even if the main benefits of what you're about to ingest would only come after the race.
Yeah, so we saw Mitchell and Cochrane there taking drinks with only 15 to 18 minutes to run, and question mark about are you going to digest that in time. But actually you do get some benefit from just having something sweet in your mouth, and of course some of the athletes use caffeine as well, so possibly if you've got a caffeine drink, that might give you a little bit of a mental lift to get through the final few miles. So Kipchoge again looks like she was just going through a bad patch when we saw her about 15 minutes ago, but looking pretty steady now, and a long way back to Bekele. So has Kipchoge got this second place sewn up? I don't think she's going to catch Koskai, but Sarah Hall produced an enormous gap on Bekele.
Yeah, this is absolutely brilliant from the American. I'm just going back over the top threes, Mara, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we've had an American woman in the top three of the able-bodied race since Dina Castor won it back in 2006. So it would be the first American female able-bodied athlete on a London Marathon podium for 14 years. That would be quite some significant moment, especially bearing in mind that Seidel, although we can't see her, if she keeps going, we can have two American women in the top 8.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's correct. Of course, Dina Castor, the current US record. So 1 lap to go for Koskai. Dina Castor 2:19:36 in London in 2006. I was in that race, came 6th. I remember, I think it was raining on that day, but nothing like we've had today.
Right, 2:11:41.
So bringing her home in something around 2:18, possibly a bit under, so looks like that women's only record is not going to happen, but it's still a very fast time. Last year here in London she ran 2:18:20 in April 2019 here in London. The year before that she was second in 2:20:13. So Koskai, that is definitely a smile on Koskai's face.
It is now, and you know what? It's a mark of how good an athlete she is. I mean, we shouldn't be disappointed. 2:18 is still an absolutely phenomenal time. What she ran in Chicago was just out of this world. She's just gone past Sinead Diver. Diver is running really well, not quite as fast as she did last year. She, I think, is on course for mid-220s. Diver's in 8th. So we were right to we were asking Hugh Brayshaw what would happen regarding athletes being lapped. Athletes in the top 10 are being lapped, such as the dominance of Koskai and Kipchoge, and it's getting interesting here between Cochrane and Mitchell. Remember, in terms of their PBs, Mitchell is in huge uncharted territory here and is in line for a massive PB. Cochrane is having a fantastic run, but has done faster than she's on course for at the moment, as has Koskai. So, major battle raging down the field to see who's going to win the Battle of the Brits. Koskai, though, Mara, looks as though she's got this sewn up. Having a little look over her shoulder, she's away handful.
Over 2 minutes.
2 more minutes. That's
the second half last year.
world record holder there, ladies and gentlemen. Akielekea
I
kumaliza.
just don't know what to make of Costa.
Haya, wapi shangwe na vigelegele? Sioni watu wakishangilia. Standing ovation. Tusimame tafadhali. Tusimame sisi wote. Tupige makofi. Kwa nini sioni watu wakiinua miguu, mikono, vichwa? Weka mikono juu, weka mikono juu. DJ twende, haya kila mtu nipatie hapa. DJ twende, akiwa kaenda huko, twende, weka, twende, weka. Haya, Kenya
Hallelujah.
DJ.
Dangerous DJ.
Mheshimiwa Mandago anataka atuongoze na dance kabisa. Twende round the field. Tuko tayari? Karibu sana Gavana Mandago, twende kazi. Tupange, panga. Gavana anapanga kila mtu, so toka mbele. Toka mbele. Ndio gavana ya watu vizuri. Yes. Weka nyuma, enda nyuma, kila mtu. Weka. Twende. Haya, kila mtu twende. Maji, twende.
DJ. karibu mwenzangu, you take over from there.
Haya, tuomba wengine wote tuketi.
Hi. This is Edmond Nabola from NTV. We've been airing this marathon live, of course, and congratulations to Bridget Kipchoge and all the other athletes who participated here today. Nataka niwafunze kitu inaitwa Volcano Club. Kuna mtu anajua? Kuna mtu anajua hiyo? Weka mikono yote mbili huku juu basi. Yote mbili, zote mbili. Weka simu kando, mikono yote mbili kando juu. Kila mtu, mikono yote mbili juu. Huko, mikono. This way. Kila mtu. So this is how we do it as we celebrate our winners, okay? Anza pole pole. Zinaongezeka. Sawa, hiyo ni warm up, sio? Now let's start. This is for Bridget and all the other participants from Kenya. Sawa? Okay, mikono juu basi, sawa? On my cue. 1. Sisi bado hiyo sauti haijatosha bwana. Haijatosha hiyo sauti. Okay, sawa. Hiyo 1, 2. Again. Ongeza pace. Okay. Haya, tena sio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Haya, asante sana. Congratulations to our winners today and our participants. Bridget Kipchoge. Tuko hapa the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism and Wildlife. We also have the 3 governors from this region. The Honorable Alex Olgos, Elgeyo Marakwet, celebrating today. Apparently, Bridget Kipchoge anatoka Elgeyo Marakwet. We also have the host governor, the Honorable Jackson Mandago, Wasingishu County, and the Governor Stephen Sang from the neighboring Nandi County. Makofi kwao. Asante sana. So that's a rerun of the finish. Also, the Member of Parliament for Story, the Honorable Caleb Kositani is here with us. As we watch a rerun of the finish, and because you see our guests there, we just want to speak to them to hear what they have to say about this.
Kindly ask that we move for the sake of the receivers for the microphones. Kindly asking that the rest of us can move aside a bit so that we have a reception.
Then Sarah Waldo. But what a run from Oakland, Lara. And we can remind ourselves that the link
So you're the life of the party here in the dance.
Thank you very much. We are indeed very excited for Bridget Kipchoge's win in today's London Marathon. This London Marathon is opening up now athletics back to frame immediately after the pandemic. So we believe more races will follow and we expect to see more Kenyans win. Of course, we are anticipating the men's marathon, but unfortunately the fallout of Bekele kidogo imetuletea shida. Nilikuwa naambia siapigie Bekele tu akimbia hata kama kilomita 3 peke yake, tuone kama mambo inaenda vipi.
The Honorable Stephen Sang, Governor of Nandi County, the source of champions. Karibu sana watu wako hapo.
Tunafurahi kwamba Bridget ametuletea hiyo gold medal, lakini sana sisi kama wananchi wa sehemu hii tunafurahi kwamba nchi ya Kenya imepata nafasi ya kutajika katika hii London Marathon ya kina mama, lakini the big thing tunangojea sasa ni Kipchoge pamoja na wale wanariadha wetu wengine. Kwamba Kipchoge sasa leo anakimbia against himself. Ni Eliud anang'ang'ana na Kipchoge. Na tunatarajia kwamba yeye ataweza kuonyesha sisi maneno katika hii London Marathon.
Sasa Governor Amanda, expectations in the men's race?
Our expectations are that Eliud is going to confirm that Kenya record of we hope that today in a competitive race kama London Marathon ataweka hiyo alafu tunajua hiyo chapter tumeconfirm.
This is someone who you partnered with, Eliud Kipchoge, because him representing Kenya today. What are your expectations?
Well, it's going to confirm that Magic of Kenya is a destination for the home of champions. And Eliud is going to win today. I am just certain that he's going to win. And I wish he can just clock 1.59. So that's my prayer.
Congratulations to you. Because she's won today.
First of all, I want to congratulate Kipchoge and the entire Kenyan team that participated in London Marathon. It's a win for the country, a win for North, and a win for Eldoret Marathon. We are so happy, and we want to appreciate our athletes. We know they took a lot of time training hard, and today we see the result. So we are happy, and this also will make this region well known. We know that our athletes are doing very well. And we want to appreciate the CS for coming to watch with us this live here in Eldoret, and also thank my colleague Governor Amanda for hosting us. And together with my colleague from Nandi, we are now waiting for Kipchoge to win so that we can have a full celebration after that.
Most of these athletes actually train in Iten and within Eldoret County, and the facilities there, the CS was saying, are not up to the standard that may be required. What has your government done, and what are you willing to do in the next few years that you, Governor, will develop the facilities there to make sure that we retain this level of competition and this level of athletes?
Yeah, it's still a challenge. We know that the facilities available, most of them are private facilities, like Bridget trains in Kapsai, a training camp owned by Eric Chimbola. And we know that this is a private facility. We've been trying as county government to put a lot of resources, but again, the resources at the county level are not enough. In Eldoret Marathon, we've been trying to ensure that we create homes for the athletes, but more needs to be done. For example, Kamarin Stadium, which has now stalled again, the contractors left side without...
We were told it would be ready in a number of months. What happened?
One, I want to thank the government. They put resources. The challenge now is the contractor. We are telling the sports ministry to cancel that contract and bring a contractor who can do the works without stopping the way we've seen these other contractors. And we know that once that facility is complete, it will really help our kids. Although it's not enough, because in the Eldoret Marathon, Nandi was the issue. We have so many training camps. We have in Kapsai, Iten, Kamosol, we have another one in Kaptaga, and all these they are very many athletes. We are also requesting that maybe through the Minister of Tourism, the money that should be used to market the country can be channeled to these athletes so that they use them when as they train. Because it's not just enough to celebrate when they win, we must participate in their training.
Thank you so much, Governor Chogos, Governor Sang, Governor Mandago, and the CS for Tourism and Wildlife, the Honorable Najib Balala as well. So now let's head back to Nairobi and Nairobi studios with Yoshua Makori and Watson Karuma to talk to us about what we can expect in the next race. Over to you, Yoshua Makori.
And even saw the guys dancing there as Bridget Kosgei crossed the line at St. James Park. It was very interesting, of course, to see Bridget Kosgei go ahead. They were at some point neck for neck with one of the champion, Ruth Chebekatich, who unfortunately dropped down to third place. 2 hours, 18 minutes and 58 seconds. That is the time Bridget Kosgei used to win the London Marathon. That is the third title for her, Makori. Sasa unaona rekodi yake ya saa 2 dakika 14 na sekunde 4 ameipita kwenda mbele. Yes. Kumaanisha kwamba leo ilikataa. Na Ruth Chebekatich alikuwa ameenda sambamba na yeye, lakini katika mahali kwamba Bridget Kosgei akaamua kwenda na akakwenda kabisa. Lakini London alionekana kwamba amechoka, na ndio maana Sarah Hall akawa amepinda na kumaliza katika nafasi ya pili, lakini yote ya yote ya kwanza na ya tatu bado sawa. Yeah, and indeed it's something very interesting, of course, about that race is that we saw our very own Vivian Cheruiyot. She's the 2018 London Marathon winner. But we are excited, of course, as the people in Eldoret, that Bridget Kosgei went ahead to defend successfully the 40th London Marathon title. After this short break, we'll be again looking at what we can expect in the next hour, and that will be the men's race of the London Marathon. Eliud Kipchoge, of course, is in that race.
Check two. Okay DJ, thank you so much NTV kutoka studio na pia wale ambao wako ground, thank you so much. Wapi makofi ya NTV tafadhali? Thank you so much Edmond and your team. Asanteni sana kina Joyce Wangoi wako hapa kina Mtayo.
Tafadhali wenye wana shughuli hapa mbele we clear the place.
Yes.
This is a place reserved for the
media team.
The press.
Yeah. Now, Bwana Bakari, I was told we didn't do one more dance the other time as we move to the next part. We'll tell you more about NOREB and the sports tourism no thrift, and then of course
basi watu Eldoret mmefurahi. Basi naona mpigi makofi. Onge ndo mpige tourism ndio Ako kajino kata mo kazi inapata kabisa kuiundo kisongazi sahihi. Haya basi tukisubiri the men's marathon Juma please write something on tourism within the region. Yes.
Yeah, tulikuwa tunaangazia masuala ya utalii katika eneo hili. Sosuro tafadhali msiende, there's one more dance tunataka kufanya. Tukiangazia Uasin Gishu ikiwa inaendelea pamoja na eneo hili la North Rift region. Kumbuka kwamba tuko na vitu vingi ambavyo tunaangazia utalii katika eneo hili la North Rift, na bila shaka hapa Uasin Gishu, our great plateau plains of Uasin Gishu ziko hapa. Tafadhali tembea Uasin Gishu uweze kujionea sehemu mbalimbali, na pia sekta ya hoteli, utalii, ukulima, biashara ikiwa imenoga kabisa. The source of champions in Nandi, the magical waterfalls and the hills of Nandi ikiwa part of our North Rift tourism. Bila kusahau the Kerio valleys in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Tembea huko ujione. Bwana Bakari, Turkana County is the cradle of mankind.
That is
yes. Okay, and then we have the pink magics of Lake Bogoria. We have the flamingos, and then the hidden treasures of West Pokot. And of course, not forgetting where nature defines itself, it's Samburu County and the breadbasket of Trans Nzoia County. Hizo ndio counties ambazo zinatengeneza the North Rift Economic Block, and we say growing together as NOREB, the global athletics powerhouse. Ndio kwa sababu leo tukiwa hapa tunawaletea the sports tourism. Bila shaka Mheshimiwa Balala anaweza kujionea, na wananchi pia naweza kujionea jinsi riadha inatoa fani kabisa katika eneo hili. Basi Bwana Bakari, tukiwa tunasubiri kuweza kuanza kwa mbio za wanaume sasa, najua wengi wametulia wanangoja, ikiwa na waziri wetu hapa Sosuro, CDJ anipatie wimbo na kila mtu achangamke. Tukipanga the next parts within the next 30 minutes, alafu tutakuwa tunaanza the rest. DJ pale studio, Dolce Sounds, you have 3 minutes. Haya, twende DJ.
3 minutes Sosuro.
tatu zimeisha. Naona mheshimiwa gavana wetu yuko tayari kabisa. Asanteni sana. Bwana Bakari.
Passage of this center, ladies and gentlemen, kwa heshima and I'll hand over His Excellency the Governor wa Sindishu Jackson Tulake Mandago ambaye pia ni kiti wa Eldoret. Karibu sana sana.
Waziri wetu wa masuala ya utalii, Waziri Balala, Chief Administrative Secretary wetu Bwana Joseph Boynet, Principal Secretary Madam Kipchoge, Principal Secretary Professor Fred Segor, CEOs wa parastatal zetu katika wizara ya tourism, my colleague governors, CECs na wananchi wa hapa Eldoret, mjambo. Kwa sababu tunajua hii race ya wanaume inakaribia na hatutaki kukatizia na speeches hapa katikati, mturuhusu kwa muda mfupi uweze kuwaeleza wale wageni ambao tuko nao hapa, na vile Bakari alikuwa amewaambia mungimi wagitenge kasi kumbe kuretege ngui mtani na hizi tembi kola ngire ile kwa ngoi baadaye hiyo kwa gileji waza mekasi wote tajua kasi na tourism kwa jioni na ina hoteli mimi tulio bakana wa hoteli so kuretege nyo ile ngogi mtu nogera na ngogi ngeruka yote so nilikuwa nasema mpige makofi ya British Coast makofi. Basi kwa hoteli tuko na sisi wa region hii na nafikiri tuko na sisi kutoka nani wasikisho kwa Marakwet sisi Chibox simameni hao ni sisi na Chibox wetu kutoka county za Eldoret. Hao ndio wamekuwa kushirikia kuhakikisha hii mpango iko sambamba. Asanteni sana. Tuko na CEO wetu wa Eldoret Dr. Dominic Biwot, Lilia Dominic Makofi. Tuko na veterans wetu wanariadha waliotokea miaka zilizopita. Hebu simameni champions wetu ambao mko hapa. Mwanzo acknowledge you, simameni pigia kwa makofi. Asanteni sana. Kwa hivyo kwa sababu ya muda mmeruhusu nikaribishe Chief Administrative Secretary Bwana Joseph Boynet ili aweze kusema machache. I introduce Principal Secretaries waseme machache na CEOs ya tourism, na tuambie kama wananchi hapa North Rift, serikali kupitia wizara ya tourism tuko na mpango kabambe ya kuhakikisha tunaboresha maneno ya utalii katika sehemu hii. Kwa sababu ya muda, wacha nikaribishe Bwana Joseph Boynet, Chief Administrative Secretary. Karibu CS.
Haya, asanteni sana. Ningependa kushukuru Mheshimiwa Gavana wa kaunti hii yetu ya Uasin Gishu wakiwa na magavana wenzake kutoka Nandi, the Source of Champions, na Governor Tolbas from Elgeyo Marakwet, the Home of Champions. Na sasa tukiwa hapa kwenye ngome yenyewe ya Champions, tunafurahi sana Mheshimiwa Gavana Mandago tukiwa nyumbani. Sisi ni ngome yetu ya Champions. Sisi sote ni champions. Sisi tumedhibitisha kwa dunia sisi ni champions. Asanteni sana. CS wetu wa tourism and wildlife, Mheshimiwa Balala, our PSS, Professor Segor and Madam Sofina Kwekwe, pamoja na CEOs wa parastatals, wafanyakazi wa serikali kuu na serikali ya makaunti zote za Eldoret, our athletes, both those who are in active duty and those who have retired, wananchi wa Eldoret Namga tugul. Mereka nyo dan Eldoret. Kita nak kena. Kombe nyon. Jukumu langu ni fupi sana, nimekuwa kazi ya kuintroduce kwenu viongozi wa idara ya katika wizara yetu ya Tourism and Wildlife kwa hisani ya waziri wetu wa Tourism and Wildlife. Na ningependa kuanza na PSS. Na ningeanza na PS aliyetuleta hapa siku ya leo, PS wa State Department of Tourism. Mheshimiwa Sabina Kwenda, karibu PS, wasalimie wananchi wa mji huu.
Watu wa Eldoret champion. Leo ni siku nzuri na itazidi kuwa nzuri kwa sababu tunajua leo Kenya itawika na itang'aa. Tunashukuru wote wenye wamejitokezea kuja kusherehekea hao mabingwa wetu, na Bridget tayari ameonyesha kwamba Kenya ni nchi ambayo hatuwezi tukachezewa katika riadha. Tunashukuru na tunajua Eldoret pia na yeye atatia stamp kwamba we are indeed the champions. Asanteni sana.
Asante PS. Wa pili nitamwita ni Profesa Segor ambaye ni PS katika State Department ya Wildlife. Karibu Profesa.
Waziri wetu wa utalii na wanyama wa pori Mheshimiwa Balala, gavana wa Uasin Gishu Jackson Mandago, gavana wa Nandi Stephen Sang, na gavana wa Elgeyo Marakwet Kos, na Mheshimiwa Caleb Kositanyi wa Zoi, athletes wa hapa North Rift na Eldoret, wananchi wa Eldoret kwa jumla, hamjambo. Basi mimi niko na furaha kuja sehemu hii ya Eldoret, kuungana na wananchi wa Eldoret kusupport ama kupatia motisha wanariadha wetu ambao tayari tunaona Bridget Kosgei ametuonyesha kwamba yeye tayari ni bingwa wa London Marathon, na tunatarajia kwamba Eliud Kipchoge ambaye ni ambassador wa maji Kenya pia atafanya namna hiyo na hawa wakimbiaji wengine. So leo waziri, tuko na furaha kwa sababu mara ya kwanza tumekuja kusherehekea maneno ya athletics hapa Uasin Gishu, ili tuonyeshe ya kwamba maneno ya utalii iko Uasin Gishu, iko Mombasa, iko kila mahali kwa Kenya. So leo tumekuja hapa tuungane na nyinyi, na nimefurahi sana kwa sababu mmetupokea. Tutazidi kukuja hapa ili tueneze utalii, kwa sababu utalii ni njia moja kuleta maneno ya kazi hapa Kenya. So gongoi mising, gongoi amecha somakol nalega utalii kugeri piongi arego to nalega piongi Kenya wildlife. So amecha somok mutege pionda mutni geri amo piongi juu utalii Kenya. So tuendelee kukuza wildlife na maneno ya utalii na maneno ya wanyama wa pori. So asante na Mungu awabariki.
Asante sana Profesa kwa mayai yako umeyasema mazuri sana. So tukiona mnyama yote wa pori tafadhali tumlinde, tusimdhuru, kwa sababu utalii wa nchi hii ama sifa ya nchi kutokana na wanyama wetu na wakimbiaji wetu. I'm saying Kenya is known globally because of its great natural heritage in terms of wildlife, and our great runners. Haya basi, sehemu inayokuja sasa ni fursa yangu kuwa introduce kwa CEOs ya parastatals ambao ziko na hudumu katika nchi yetu ya tourism and wildlife. Kupitia katika mgabano huu kuna tukio hili. Haya, wa kwanza ni aliyetuleta hapa CEO wa KTB Tourism, Kenya Tourism Board. Daktari Nadia, karibu na daktari.
Asante na habari za siku hii. Habari watu wa Eldoret. Kange. Tunafurahi sana kwa vile mmetukaribisha hapa. Tunasema asante kwa gavana ya Eldoret, Nandi na Wasilishu na watu wote wa Eldoret. Tunatarajia kuja hapa kuuza utalii hapa Eldoret. Na tutaanza na asanteni.
Wa pili ni CEO wa Regulatory Authority. Karibu CEO. Na ujitambue sababu wewe ni mtu wa umuhimu. Asante sana bwana CS, ESS, governance, all protocols observed. Mimi naitwa Kipchoge nakaa pale Garabols na Nandi. Mimi ni charge ya Tourism Regulatory Authority, maneno ya standards, quality assurance and licenses. Congratulations all of you for winning the London Marathon. Acting CEO wa Tourism Fund. Hamjambo watu wa Eldoret. Hamjambo tena. Na mzuri wetu au protocols observed. Naitwa David K. Arab Mweki. Nimetoka Nairobi na nimefurahi sana kwa pamoja nanyi na tunaendelea kushuhudia ushindi mwingine ambao mnakuja. Asante. Wanakitonga wa Tourism Research, karibu usalimia watu wa Eldoret. Hamjambo nyote. Jamge, majina mmesikia ni David Gitonga, mambo ya Tourism Research, utafiti ili kuboresha utalii katika dunia hii. Tumefurahi sote kwa sababu ya ushindi na tunajua kilele itakuwa tukisherehekea baada ya men's race ambayo Victoria itashinda. Asanteni. Tutakayemwita sasa ni chairman wa Bomas of Kenya. Chairman wa Bomas of Kenya ambaye mnamfahamu sana. Wacha naye pia awasalimu. Chairman, tafadhali karibu.
Asante sana bwana waziri, PSS na bwana CS na CEOs wa parastatals ya tourism. Mimi pia nimesikia majina zangu ni Josiah Magut, former mayor wa mji wa Eldoret. Watu wa tourism karibu kwetu. Kile ambaye tunataka kufanya bwana waziri na kusaidiana zote pamoja katika tourism ni kwamba tubadilishe kazi ya athletics iwe ndio inauza Kenya kabisa, kwa sababu tunauza sana the big five. Sasa tuanze kuleta tourism kupitia njia ya mguu, na unaona hii talete wageni wengi. Nashukuru sana, karibu nyumbani, karibuni mara nyingine.
Asante sana bwana Magut, CEO wa Bomas. Tafadhali pia leo wasalimie wananchi wa mji huu.
Watu wa Uasin Gishu, hamjambo? Hamjambo tena? Jambo tugu. Mimi naitwa Peter Gitan, ni msimamizi wa Bomas of Kenya na nina furaha sana kuja hapa niliona haya. Kwa hivyo kwa sababu najua tunataka kuanza mambo haya, nataka kuanza kwamba tuangalie vizuri na tusaidiane kwa hiyo. Asanteni sana.
the Queen. 3 minutes.
Na asante sana bwana CS. Moyo lagara komiti tanaga. Anane. Gua uget mo gua no ge. Aya koe.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here at the time ambapo sasa hivi mashindano kwa yaume ndio itaanza. Right there we have the world holder, Olympic champion, world champion, that is Eldoret, leading the strong Kenyan team, and of course we really expect competition from our perennial competitor of Ethiopia. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, Olympic champion, Rio alishinda, and has won the London Marathon 4 times. Will be heading for the 50 km. Kumbuka Mkenya wa kwanza kushinda katika mashindano hayo alikuwa ni Douglas wa Kiburi. Douglas wa Kiburi ndiye alikuwa Mkenya wa kwanza kushinda katika London Marathon. Na umeanza. Hey. Na hiyo itakuwa ni 42 kilometers.
Going for 50 here. He hasn't lost a marathon since finishing second in Berlin. It is just quite the most extraordinary record. He's done everything in this sport, and without Kenenisa Bekele in the mix, on paper, the stage is set for another demonstration of excellence from the greatest we've ever seen.
Yeah, we were talking about consistency by Kipchoge just before the start, and for me that's almost as impressive as the fast times he runs, because so much can go wrong in a marathon. It's such a long race, you only get a few attempts a year, weather conditions can really affect things, of course the courses are all different, it's not really like running on the track, and we really saw that brought into focus at the Doha World Championships last year, where the performances in the stadium, in air conditioning, were really phenomenal. But out on the road, it was very tough, very hot, humid conditions.
One of the best makers
more than anything.
The one in which is
as you said, he's been going for a long time. Back in 2003, winning the medal on the track in Paris World Championships. So, but I think he's really, the marathon perhaps is his event.
Oh, without any shadow of a doubt. I mean, it was great in Rio to see him complete his Olympic medal collection, because he had a bronze and a silver over the 5 in Athens and Beijing. But yeah, he's found his home at the marathon. Mozadek Geremiu proved himself a championship performer with that silver in Doha after finishing second to Elliot in London last April. Wasserman ran really well. Cisse Lema is another brilliant runner from Ethiopia, third in Berlin last year. He's also gone sub 2:04. A whole host of young Ethiopians who will fancy they can get in the mix against Eliud Kipchoge, but they face an unenviable task. On a unique course, we're not point to point. Just under 2¼ kilometres, 19½ times, with the backdrop of Buckingham Palace, the Mall, Birdcage Walk and Horse Guards Parade, over and over again, with a slight rise. What is it?
Because of COVID, mashindano yanafanyika kwa mara ya kwanza in October. Otherwise, London Marathon every other time one in April.
Mile markers will go past very quickly. And I think you mentioned during the women's coverage, Mara, and it's worth reiterating now, apparently this was the preferred course for the 1:59 attempt last year. So it's fast, and we know it's just about as flat as you could possibly get.
That's right, this was one of the courses considered for Kipchoge's sub-2 attempt. They ended up doing it in Vienna, but it was right up there, and you can see why. There's almost no undulation. That little graph we just saw of the elevation was a little bit misleading. If you look at the axis on the left-hand side, the maximum elevation is 6 metres, so it's a completely flat course. No sharp corners really. The only one which is a little bit sharp is from Horse Guards Road onto Birdcage Walk. I think that's the corner we've just seen. Otherwise, not particularly sharp corners. And of course, with a lap course, if you stick on the blue line, which you can see there to the right of the group of runners, next to the red banners, if you stick on the blue line, which is the shortest course, you will end up running the shortest distance. It was interesting in the women's race that we often saw them off the blue line. Let's hope that the men's, their coaches have told them to stick to the blue line religiously. As for the women's race, there are races within races here today. Right at the sharp end, it's all about Kipchoge and the other Africans, but many athletes will be trying to get the men's Tokyo Olympic qualifying time of 2:11:30. Some already have it and will be looking to cement their place with their national federations' selection processes.
4:43, so that's it's just outside 2:03 pace. So for the leaders, the likes of Eliud Kipchoge, Jeremy and Wassigan, who I've seen in there alongside Lever and Tamirat Toller, who was third in Dubai a couple of years ago, with just outside 2:04. This is all fairly good. It's a sensible pace that they've requested, Mara. The lead group have asked the pacemakers to take them through in 61. And if we bear in mind, Eliud's time last year was absolutely phenomenal. 2:02, it wasn't quite the world record for Berlin, but I think everybody would acknowledge that London, it is a world record course. Kipchoge broke the world record in 02, I think, when Chogat was second and Riley was third on his debut in something like 2:06 plus change. The traditional London course is fast, but probably not quite as fast as Berlin, which is why we've seen more world records in Berlin.
Yeah, and of course Paula Radcliffe, broke two world records. Sorry, 2:15:25, the one with male pacemaker, she set in London. I think the other one she had was in Chicago. But yes, it's a fast course, very flat, no sharp corners.